Well, hello, beauties. Welcome back to Talk and Tap. And this is our Tapinar this week. And again, with my uh, co-host and partner in crime, Kandiee Campbell of the Awaken Hope Show. And I hope you are enjoying these and you're making use of these tappings and you're sharing them with everyone. Please subscribe so we can grow and share more empowerment with women everywhere. So, Kandiee, how are you this week?
I'm doing well. I mean, I've really been kind of focusing and centering my thoughts on my little squishy grandson.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, but I've got challenges just like everybody else. I've had some things pop up when it comes to wanting to control an outcome. When you have an event that comes up and or something arises and you're like, oh, how is this going to unfold? Oftentimes I was thinking about this the other night. I was like, I did a short tapping, but I'm like, this is something that Sandy and I can talk about on our Talk and Tapinar because my natural instinct is to want to control something when I and the truth is I can't control anything. I can just control me and my response, but it doesn't mean that old pattern doesn't kick in and want me to try to control it.
Hmm.
Other than that, I'm good. But it
Yeah,
is a
so
topic.
yeah, if we dig into control, because hello, folks. I mean, I know that's a big one for me. And it's really tough to start observing yourself how often you you want to drive how people do things and how others are doing stuff. So let's look at the you issues that things pop up and start to unfold, and you have a natural instinct to want to control how it goes. Um, so what actually happens? Are you seeing that issue right away, or do you get into the weeds of trying to control it before
No,
you
I get into
see?
the weeds because there's so many variables I have that have yet to um, materialize, show up. You can't control those. And I'm trying to, I guess I'll give you a little context so you understand. It has to do with the radio show. There's some stuff that I'm trying to do with the radio show. And I can only do so much. The other variables, like the sponsorship and all that, that's not something I can do what I can do, but I can't
Mm-hmm.
do other things. So I find myself getting into the stress of, oh, well, how's this going to come about? What about this? What about that? I know when I get into the what if or what about, I'm trying to control something. I'm trying to manipulate a situation or a circumstance to go a certain direction when maybe I just need to step away from it and realize and let the universe bring the circumstances or situations the way it wants to, not the way Kandiee thinks it's supposed to come.
Yeah, so is that a sort of an anxiety coming up then when you
Yeah.
get into that part?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm borrowing energy from an event that hasn't happened. I'm going down oh, well, what if this happens? Or what about that? And I'm like, wait, first of all, you're not there. Second of all, you don't know if this is what you're proposing in your head is actually going to happen. And
Hmm.
I just go down that road. I mean,
Right. Yeah, so thinking about that whole scenario, and you get into that state,
mhm.
something kind of just takes you there, and we're all subject to this, that we start to think and try to think our way through it or out of it. And instead we're sort of digging deeper and making it worse. Um, where does this manifest in your body, this anxiety and worry about not having control?
So between my solar plexus and my heart, a little bit of
Uh,
both. Mostly solar plexus. That's where, but my heart gets a little kind of clogged there.
yeah, yeah. And what I've learned to understand better is, we talked about this before, how the solar plexus, that's right below the heart, right at the below the rib cage to the navel, that whole area, but we often feel it in that upper part. And what I have become to learn is that we can bring in all this energy and be so in tune with what we want to do, and we're stepping into action and we're making things happen, which you have been doing. And it's kind of remarkable what you've done. However, the heart tends to push it back down
Mhm.
and, deny it and not allow it to keep coming, not allow that energy to keep going. It pushes it down. There's this wall about it not being safe enough. It's just, you probably shouldn't go there. And so that makes sense that you're feeling it further into the heart itself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, so when that tension comes and you're feeling it in your body, and you have this emotion, this anxiety, and this need to control, what's the intensity of that?
Oh, if I go down that road, it can be a 6 or a 7 quickly, because then it's a slippery slope. I
Yeah.
sliding right on down, and then before I know it, I'm like, oh fudge, how'd I end up here?
So if it's really intense, you ramp up to a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so hanging out at 6 and 7 is kind of high, especially because the more you think about it, the more we can go up. And, for people listening, watching, if you haven't heard us talk about this, it's called the SUD scale, and it's just from 0 to 10 on how intense something can be for you, where 10 is like almost in panic, and of course 0 is calm. And I've recently learned that as you're working on things and you actually bring your energy to a more calm place, you can go in a positive direction from 0 to 10. It's like a plus, plus 6 or 7. But when we're in the muck of it, we are not. We are into that, as we said before, the weeds. So 6 or 7, feeling it in the body, solar plexus to the heart. Is there anything else that this part of you might want to tell us, might want to speak? Like if it could speak, what would it say?
Well, the little voice in me, or the little part of me, says, what if this doesn't work out? What
Hmm.
if what if you fail?
Yeah,
What if your numbers drop? What if it's the what if, which is the unknown variables that you're bringing about, things that haven't happened, haven't occurred, but
yeah.
the
But that's precisely it. We start out with what about this and what about that? But underneath that, underneath all that anxiety is the fear of failure,
Mhm.
and what that would be like, and so that's really pretty um, astute to understand that already, to know that, oh my God, this is pretty scary stuff. So let's do some tapping right away.
Okay,
Okay, hang on one second. Just got a note or two.
no problem.
Okay, so take a nice breath, coming down out of our busy mind into our bodies. Everyone watching, listening, you can do the same. Just think of the predominant emotion that you've been feeling this week, and just kind of take a temperature, give it a number, and just feel into your body where that might be as we tap along. And you can add your own words. And of course, you can wait and listen to this, watch this later where you're safe enough to do the tapping. So use your judgment there. Okay, so Kandiee, take another breath. And let's just start tapping. Going to go through some of the things that you've said and see where it takes us. Okay, I have so many challenges coming up.
I have so many challenges coming up.
Things just keep popping up.
Things just keep popping up.
And they're popping into my head.
And they're popping into my head.
And I want to control how things go.
And I want to control how things go.
I want to control the outcome.
I want to control the outcome.
I want to control it.
I want to control it.
But the truth is, I know I can't.
But the truth is, I know I can't.
This is an old pattern.
This is an old pattern.
It sends me into the weeds.
It sends me into the weeds.
I have so many variables.
I have so many variables.
And I want so much.
And I want so much.
All around my business.
All around my business.
Especially this radio show.
Especially this radio show.
So much I want to do.
So much I want to do.
And then I find myself asking.
And I find myself asking,
what if?
What if?
What about that?
What about that?
And what about this?
What about this?
Trying to control it.
Trying to control it.
Maybe I need to step away.
Maybe I need to step away.
I can't stop thinking about it.
Can't stop thinking about it.
I have all this anxiety.
I have all this anxiety.
And I know I'm borrowing energy.
I know I'm borrowing energy
from events that haven't even happened.
From the events that haven't even happened.
And I feel it in my body.
And I feel it in my body.
All this tension.
All this tension.
Constriction.
Constriction.
In my solar plexus.
In my solar plexus.
All the way to my heart.
All the way to my heart.
And the voice keeps saying.
And the voice keeps saying.
Running around in my head.
Rolling around in my head.
What if this doesn't work out?
What if this doesn't work out?
What if I fail?
What if I fail?
What if the numbers drop?
What if the numbers drop?
I've invested so much in this.
I've invested so much in this.
So much time.
So much time.
Money.
Money.
I've put so much passion into this.
I've put so much passion into this.
But what if I fail?
What if I fail?
Brings up so much anxiety.
It brings up so much anxiety.
So much worry.
So much worry.
Doesn't feel safe.
It doesn't feel safe.
Because I don't have control.
Because I don't have control.
No control.
No control.
I want control.
I want control.
But I don't have it.
But I don't have it.
And that just gives me more anxiety.
And that just gives me more anxiety.
All this anxiety.
All this anxiety.
This anxiety.
This anxiety.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear of failure.
This fear of failure.
This uncertainty.
This uncertainty.
It makes me scared.
It makes me scared.
All this fear and anxiety.
All this fear and anxiety.
Resting in my body.
Resting in my body.
Causing me to just be more anxious.
Causing me to just be more anxious.
And worry more.
And worry more.
Because there's so much on the line.
Because there's so much on the line.
So many what ifs.
So many what ifs.
I'm just going to honor how I feel.
I'm just going to honor how I feel.
and how I really don't have any control.
and how I really don't have any control.
I'm just going to honor the anxiety.
I'm just going to honor the anxiety.
I'm just going to honor how afraid I am.
I'm just going to honor how afraid I am.
Because of course I'd be afraid.
Of course, I am afraid. Of
And of course I'd be anxious.
course, I'd be anxious.
Okay, so just take a breath and feel down into your body now.
Hmm.
What's going on? What's that number?
Oh, about a one.
Oh, all right, so that's really powerful. That's really huge. And because, I know I've explained before, but understand that these numbers are logarithmic. It's not just one number. It's 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. So we've gone all the way down that far. And that is so huge. If you're tapping along or listening later and tapping, if your number doesn't go down or doesn't go down very much, or maybe it even ramps up because you've tapped into something that's been there that you didn't realize, keep going until you get down to about a 3. And you can just take the one word that you're uh, amplifying. So perhaps it's the anxiety. You can just do a round of this anxiety or my anxiety, anything like that. My fear, I'm afraid. Just go all the way around with that one word, maybe a couple of times. You'll feel your body shift. You'll get those different reactions and then check in again. So now we are all the way down to a 1, which is like amazing. But I want to ask you, Kandiee, to just kind of feel into this and ask, what would it be like to have total control?
Probably not good.
Yeah, I mean, what do you see if you had all the control that
Oh,
you have? What would that be like? Would you be like needing 10 assistants to do everything? Because I can't
probably.
imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So feel into how much anxiety that would be, and just put that there. And I want to look at what the law of attraction um, and how we take this word control. Um, and when we want something, we're always teaching and talking about how we can visualize everything going so well. And you have this amazing radio show and you're getting accolades and more people tuning in. The sponsors are coming from like out of the blue, they're surprising you. All of this stuff is happening and you feel that. You just step into what would that feel like? And actually, think about that for a second. What would it feel like if all of that came together and you had that? When you have it, what's it going to feel like? What's the emotion and feeling there?
Oh, it'd feel good with everything coming together.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it would be kind of like that pinnacle of I've I've achieved what I
Okay.
set out to do.
Yeah. So does that feel like fulfillment, joy, ecstatic? What's the feel?
Happy, ecstatic. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
still
Over the moon, right? Yeah. So, feel into that, bring it into your body. And what we need to do, what's been proven over and over, if we just feel that now,
Mhm.
and walk around with that feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment and being happy and over the moon about where you are, then we let go of the how, because that is not up to us. And it's like convoluted. Like, how the heck can we do that? You just let go of the how, because we are co-creating this with spirit, with the universe, with God, your choice in words there, but we're co-creating. So we look at what we have and what we would like to have, our desires. We grab the feeling, and then we just take one step at a time, because that's all we can see. If we try to see ahead, we're going to miss the ideal that's coming to us. It's like, if you can create your affirmations, create your desires, and then at the end of saying them, it's this or something better now
Mm.
manifests for me, and allowing that to come to fruition. And a lot of times it seems like, okay, this is crazy. If I walk around saying these things, my inner self is going to laugh. But if you get that feeling first, you really look at the feeling of joy and being ecstatic and over the moon, that's when things start to change. And I have to tell you that one of the things I've learned to use more and more, I still have to remind myself, but it's the whole idea of walking around saying, I love myself.
Mm.
There's a
Mhm.
whole book about this, a guy who gave a talk about how he changed his entire life doing this.
Hmm.
I have since added, I love my life. So I walk around with, I love myself, I love my life. And I picture all the things coming to me. So, like you, Kandiee, I'm building a business and I want more and more people to see what we're doing and to learn about this and to be attracted to not only this channel, but all my social media, and to buy my book and to learn, read my Substack, all of those, as you say, all the different pieces, the variables of what we're trying to do. Uh,
Mhm.
and so, it is that. And it's almost like you're picturing it already happening. It's already done.
Mhm.
What's it like? What does it look like? What's our ideal perfect day? Our average perfect day, really. It's not like we won the lottery or we're on vacation. It is just every day is this beautiful day. We're walking around happy and at peace and at calm and enjoying life and the people around us and the people that we serve, because we know that's what we want to do. So I
Mhm.
want you to just kind of look at that, bring that happiness into your body, and we'll tap it in. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to start
Mm.
again, taking a breath. I've had all this concern,
I've had all this concern,
so much self-doubt,
so much self-doubt,
fear and anxiety,
fear and anxiety,
wanting control
wanting control
over things I cannot control.
over things I cannot control.
So I'm open to letting that go,
So I'm open to letting that go.
even a small bit of it, piece by piece, letting that go.
Even a small bit of it, piece by piece, letting that go.
I'm open to all the possibilities
I'm open to all the possibilities
for my prosperity,
for my prosperity,
my health and wealth,
my health and wealth,
and all my loving connections,
and all my loving connections,
whether virtual or live and real person.
whether virtual or live and real person.
All of this is here for me,
All of this is here for me,
and I'm open to receiving.
and I'm open to receiving.
I'm letting go of needing to control everything.
And letting go of needing control everything.
I know that I am on the best path
I know that I am on the best path
for my highest good and greatest joy,
for my highest good and greatest joy,
and for the highest good and joy of all.
and for the highest good and joy of all.
Nothing that is meant for me
Nothing that is meant for me
will pass me by.
will pass me by.
So as I am looking at all the things I desire,
As I'm looking at all the things I desire,
I'm bringing in the beautiful feeling of having that.
I'm bringing in the beautiful feeling of having that.
And I embody the joy,
And I embody the joy,
feeling good,
feeling good,
at peace,
at peace,
fulfilled,
fulfilled,
happy with what I'm doing,
happy with what I'm doing,
loving what I'm doing,
loving what I'm doing,
loving the people I serve,
loving the people I serve,
loving the people I work with,
loving the people I work with,
loving my life.
loving my life.
I know that spirit has my back.
I know that spirit has my back.
So as I picture all of the things I desire,
As I picture all the things I desire,
I know that it's all there for me already.
I know that it's all there for me already.
Because if I can imagine it,
Because if I can imagine it,
I can have it.
I can have it.
It's already there.
It's already there.
Just raising my awareness,
It's raising my awareness,
my energetic vibration
my energetic vibration
to meet what is already there.
to meet what is already there.
So as I look at this one more time,
As I look at this one more time,
I see that there is no need for control.
I see there is no need for control.
So may all of this come to me,
So may all of this come to me,
this or something better,
this or something better,
now manifests for me
now manifest for me
in divine timing.
in divine timing.
All right, so take a breath. Letting that go.
Ooh.
The universe did its job. And we ask for that, it is given. So, how do you feel?
Very relaxed. Time for a nap.
Yes. So, the best thing to do is to just embrace that, feel that calmness and joy, and make that list. And, we talk about it, we just say, I want fill in the blank. I want peace. I want joy. I want fulfillment. You can kind of skip over some things and just go right to the emotions. But if you're, new to a lot of it, just put down everything. And I do this. I'll do this at least once a year, a couple times a year. All of the material things I want,
Mhm.
and all of the connections I want, all those sorts of things, and then add the emotions that are coming with that, the feelings and how good that's going to feel. Really embrace that, and then letting go of the how. And it's kind of really um it surprises me every time it comes through. So I've been recently doing that, walking around. I love myself. I love my life. There's plenty for me, and money comes to me in the most unusual ways. And Kandiee, I got to tell you, this past week, that's been happening. It's been really weird. And,
Wow.
or, people from my past that are, wonderful connections have reached out. So there's a lot of that there. And even though that's happening, you have to also understand that we have to let go of what is no longer serving us.
Mhm.
So, tapping that part in, I let go of what no longer serves me. I let go of people or things that
Mhm.
no longer serve me. And
Mhm.
I embrace what the universe has in store. And just knowing that everything is right. Everything is absolutely perfect. make a list of all the things you've already accomplished. Really think about that for a second. Look how far we've come.
I do know one thing. I was rereading The Woo Woo Way because, when I first read it, you first read a book, I read it, but I went back this past weekend, I reread it, and there were things that I think I wasn't ready to completely hear
Mm-hmm.
that I read through this past weekend, and it hit me in a different way, in a good way, because it
Yeah,
made me confront. You were talking about in the chapter where you had to, where your mentor asked you about confronting, or not confronting, but dealing with, explaining your unhappiness with God and why God had abandoned you, and with all that you had to go through with your husband.
yeah.
And I found myself all of a sudden just crying and
Oh,
realizing that I had through my own childhood and through my own life, had suppressed the fact that I had felt abandoned by not only my parents. They didn't abandon me physically, but emotionally they had.
yeah,
And the abandonment of feeling like God was just leaving me to my own device. And I
yeah,
was like, why are why? I'm 4 years old,
yeah.
not, and just after I read through it, I did the tapping, and I just cried, and I felt a big release of, now you can finally move forward, because I had
That's so
buried that part.
beautiful. Yeah. It's so important to allow, tears are so uh it's so much energy if you can let that come through. And I didn't really get that because I'm a crier. I have cried my whole life. I mean, there's been some times when I've literally thought, did I know what my life was going to be like? Then that's why I cried. I already knew ahead of time that I'm like boohoo. It's just really, and realizing that I was just feeling a lot, that
Mhm,
empath kind of part. But it is so cathartic, and there's a key to it where we need to know that sometimes we have anger, and so many women I work with don't ever want to express that part of themselves. It's really interesting to make that happen. But when
mhm,
we do, when we find it, underneath is the angry cry. But often, as I found in myself, because I was walking around with the sadness,
mhm,
um, the anger is under the sadness. So I
mhm,
really had to pretend to do the anger stuff first. So, just start where you are. And the biggest advice that I always give people is they'll say, I don't know what to say. Like, first of all, it works without any words. So you can just tap without any words, but there's thoughts in your head. So if you say out loud or to yourself what's in your mind, what are those thoughts? Just say them
mhm,
and let that come through, because what happens next is there's something underneath it.
mhm,
There's something there. And we actually, within our training, I've had several different versions of how that looks, and we'll come with this particular thing and talk about that. But as we start to go through it and well, what's that about? What's this? Suddenly there's something else.
right.
And that's the key, is to let it come through. Examine where you feel it in your body. And Kandiee has mentioned my book, The Woo Woo Way,
Mhm,
subtitle Unblock Your Chakras, Transform Your Life. When you can sense where it is in your body, you can use my book to figure out exactly what exercise you should, that will help you. Not should, it's just the idea of, if you want some guidance, look at the examples I'm giving.
mhm,
You can see where that chakra is in your body. What's the closest chakra to where you're feeling that? Andy was feeling it in her solar plexus, that's the third chakra. The heart is the fourth. There's a forgotten one that I've learned about since I wrote the book. So the numbers can be off sometimes, but just know that's the part of your body that you're looking at. Go to that chapter and just read the story, or go all the way through it and learn about it, or go to the back of the book and there's a corresponding exercise, tapping, that you can do for that particular chakra. And just allow yourself to play with it, or just play with the emotion. What am I really feeling here? And, I'll just end with the idea that when I first discovered this, when I was first learning it, the very first time I tapped, I'm listening to a very short recording. It was actually saying exactly what I needed to say. I was so overwhelmed with what was happening. My husband was in ICU, lots of stuff going on. And it was a lot of words around, I'm not doing enough. What if I'm not doing enough? And all these different things. And as I was doing that, suddenly the emotion of guilt came through. I didn't really recognize it at first, but all these tears came and I started to feel this horrendous guilt that I had not been able to save him from his downward spiral, from the PTSD, depression, anxiety, self-medicating, all of those things. It was up to me to do that, savior kind of stuff, right? So understand that things like that are going to happen. Kandi's having this control issue. I've got to control it because this is my baby. I'm putting this out to the world and people need to get it. What if they don't, But I think that the right people are coming. People who need it are coming.
I just have to
Yeah.
trust the universe and let it
Trust
go.
the universe. So I just want to end it there, everybody, and let you absorb this. Tapping can take a minimal amount of time. I used to sometimes tap for like 30 seconds. It will bring you out of that spin enough to be able to think, to be able to act and do what you need to do, or just keep you grounded while you are overwhelmed with things. So remember that I do see you. I see your beauty and I see your brilliance and so much of your incredible power that you've been hiding, perhaps, at least some of it. So shine brightly and come back next week.
See you next